Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Welcome, everyone. You made it. Thank you so much for being here. Now's a good time to just share the show right before we start. So get that out of the way. We can continue. My first guest is an award-nominated screenwriter and actress celebrated for her deeply personal screenplay, Bloom. Bloom is inspired by her own journey through mental health challenges and her father's suicide, and it reflects her belief that art can be medicine, and I agree. She is here to talk about her work and how she empowers others to reclaim their narratives. Please welcome Stephanie Aycock. Did you want to be a film writer, screenwriter when you were a kid?
Not at all. I wanted to be an actress, or I still am an actress. And so my dream was to be in the Mickey Mouse Club when I was a kid. I wanted to be one of those kiddos that was singing, dancing, and acting. And I was obsessed with Kids Incorporated, the Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh my God, Kids Incorporated. Are we the same age?
Probably. Yes, yeah. I will be 40 in July.
Wow. Do you have big birthday plans for 40, ringing in 40?
I have some things in mind. It'll depend on if they come into fruition, but I definitely have some things in mind.
Well, just let me know where to be and when. It's fine. I'll be there. Yes, I was obsessed with Kids Incorporated. Do you remember the song?
We're Kids Incorporated, Kids.
Yes. Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming, Steph. Have a great day.
Right. So to answer your question, yeah. I actually wanted to be the performer, and I still am a performer, but I found so much catharsis in telling my story and writing that I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I kind of was just following the muse, and I would just be bored out of my mind at work on a slow shift on a cocktail napkin or like a receipt paper. I was scribbling these ideas and vignettes in my head, and it turned out it was a full manuscript within several years. So
I love how you say that. It turns out it only took several years.
Because it's true. I just have this, I mean, I have it here, I can show you, but just like mounds of receipt papers and cocktail napkins with ideas. And then I was like, oh wait, I have a full manuscript. I just have to organize it. Yeah.
And then what? Like, I'm kind of curious to dive into that, like screenwriting, filmmaking life. Like, then what happens?
So I finished the first draft and I thought it was a play. And I was so blessed to be in New York and have a table read with incredible actors at the Manhattan Film Institute, and started polishing it and working it. And I put it up as a staged play, like a play reading. Mm-hmm. And I had that in New York, Oklahoma, and Houston. And in Houston, I was like, oh, wait, like this isn't a play. Like this needs to be a movie. And it was right before COVID hit. And when that happened, I was able to really learn about adapting it to a screenplay. And I love the process of taking all of my theater work that I've done for so long and then being like, okay, how do we make this cinematic? And spent 2 years, I think, adapting it to a screenplay. And that was during COVID. So I got to have table reads with amazing talent from LA and New York, all on the screen, reading my script. And that's how we got, our director, our producer, and all of these things, because people just fell in love with the story. And It's just been a whirlwind.
Well, tell everybody about the story.
So the story follows a young woman who is diagnosed manic depressive and put on a whole bunch of medication. And it goes through the journey of going on and off medication and navigating, chasing your dreams with that negative voice in your head, constantly derailing you. And I love watching it in my head because it's not a film yet. It's in pre-production, but basically basically every time she's in her mind or there's trauma happening, because that's really how our mind gets conditioned, is through trauma. Whenever there's trauma happening or she's in her thoughts, you're in a theater and you're watching it as an audience member in theater, and that character is like Jim Carrey. All of Jim Carrey's characters rolled up into one is the personification of the mind, and that's the director. And he's the most outrageous character, but he's telling these actors what to do on stage, but it's the voice. It's like literally that negative voice in your head. So it asks the question, who do you listen to on a daily basis? Like your true self or that voice in your head? And that's the very like glistened over version. It does address suicide. It does address addiction. It addresses some really heavy topics, but that character is so comical that there is a relief and people can actually digest the material.
No wonder why you had some great talent in the room reading that. You said that it was in pre-production. For those that don't know, can you tell everybody what that means?
So pre-production, I want to say it's almost like pre-production, but pre-production means that it's in the phase of a completed manuscript. And now we're in the funding process. So we're gathering all of the funds and the resources. And then you just break it down into storyboarding and, production schedules and casting. And it's the most, I love it. It's so fun. It's just, you're getting to build the movie from scratch, but you have to be so planned. There's so much planning that goes in to the production. So we're not even in the part where we get to be on set and all that. Like we're going to start doing all of the work, the location scouting, all of that way before we even have a shoot date.
How long has it been? Because you said it was, several years that you were even writing up. And so like, how long has this entire process been up until now?
I mean, since the idea came in 2008.
Okay.
That was when the little idea tapped me on the shoulder and would not leave me alone. And it has just been a constant evolution since then. I would say the first finished manuscript was 2015. And then from there, all of the play readings happened. And then in 2020 was when it became a solid screenplay. And now in the pre-production phase, it's gathering the funds. Like we're ready to go. We're totally ready to like pull the trigger. And now it's a matter of getting those, getting the money.
Well, how does that happen? And like, so if someone's watching and they're like, this sounds like an amazing story, where can I, how does one fund a film?
So you can go to the website, thefilmbloom.com, and all throughout there's ways to donate, but there's also ways to get in touch with us to become a producer on the film. And we've teamed up with the New York Film Funding Foundation, New Mexico Film Funding Foundation, to be able to be a 501c3. So any money that is donated is actually a tax write-off to a nonprofit. They've helped put out some really incredible stories, and that's what it's about. It's about storytelling and healing through storytelling. So you can just go to the website and see how you can donate, how you can become involved. We are starting to, the first way that we did the first round of funding is the GoFundMe, which you can still participate with. And then I actually pitched it in a leadership workshop, and that leadership workshop's main challenge was to raise money in 2 days for a project or a cause that everyone unanimously got behind. And I was able to get 75 strangers who are no longer strangers. They're like incredible humans who I love so much. But at the time, 75 strangers to back this project. And we did raise some money that way as well. We raised about $20,000 that way.
What is the goal?
The actual goal, like the actual line item budget, is about $875,000. Okay. We know we can make it for $1 million. We know we can make it for, 150,000, 50,000. We'll make it happen. So it's just a matter of who we're able to get in touch with and what we're able to receive.
How, because you kind of touched on this, but how has this been for you in your healing process, in your life, to put all of this out there and to then have to, it's one thing to like write a book and then put it out there, but like you have to work with people on something you did. What is that like?
It's been a wild experience, and I'm so grateful that my ego isn't as involved as it could be, because I'm really seeing the ability to let go, trust, and realize that I want people who are better than me on my team. And I have people that are better than me already on my team. And I've made it so that this screenplay is a calling card for all of the artists that are just ready to come in and give their gifts, because I realize it's such a collaborative experience, and I want it to every single person involved, from any aspect of the film part of it, to bring what they've got. And the way to do that is just to let them, we pick them for a reason. So for me, it's been this has been such a journey, and there's been so many people that keep jumping on the train. So we have people who are big fans from, the first reading, who are still following the journey, to people who've just now discovered it. And I think it's because it does touch people's hearts. And I love having that connection with people, because it's such a human connection.
Yeah, and so important in a project like this.
Yes.
What do you love most about your life right now?
Oh man. There's just like this, I'm like so like blushy right now. What I love most about my life right now is that I am so grateful that I got to a point where I actually love my life, because the whole film talks about, someone who doesn't want to be here ultimately, or who really struggles with that. And that's very true to my story. And so what I love about my life is that I can actually be a co-creator and like involved in my life. I'm not on autopilot. It's not unconscious. It's, I've got a great relationship. I've got, there's so much in momentum right now for movement forward, of major shifts about to happen. And I'm just really excited about what is to come. I love my community. I do ecstatic dance every Sunday, and it's amazing. It's
What's that?
It's ecstatic dance. It's actually in the film too, which is cool. It's a healing modality that I've used to get back in my body and release all of the like emotions and trauma that are stored in the body. And it is a practice it's based off the 5 rhythms. So Gabrielle Roth created this practice called the 5 rhythms, where she watched a chicken get its head cut off and realized like, oh my gosh, this chicken went through the 5 rhythms of life. If anyone can dance with the 5 rhythms of life, they can dance with anything. And that is stillness, chaos, lyrical, staccato, and flow. And so it's such a cool practice of learning how to dance with the chaos. And so when chaos is happening in your life, you can be more relaxed and in flow with it, because you've practiced that dance already. But it's just a great safe space to release anything you need to. You get to be a weirdo and just have a blast.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do that?
Right. You basically get to be a kid.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I was just talking about that of like when adults stop playing and how important it is to continue to play.
Yes. So I play every Sunday. It's so fun.
So important. So important. Did I also read that there were some award nominations in your work?
Yes, I did. I did get an award nomination for conquering disabilities through film. It was a film festival. It was a broader film festival. That's the category I was nominated for. And the award show was supposed to be in 2020. I know 2021. And it happened. It did happen in 2021, but I got COVID, so I didn't get to go.
Oh no.
But yes, I did. I got nominated for conquering disabilities through film.
Wow.
Which is
Congratulations.
Thank you. Which is what the film tackles. It tackles the mental health aspect of life.
I somehow end up with a lot of people on this show talking about the National Organization for Arts and Health. Are you aware of
Ooh,
them?
no, I need to be.
They need to be a sponsor of this show because I think I talk about them every episode. But it's a great organization that we'll talk about after, but it's an entire nationwide organization for people doing arts and health, arts and medicine, and all the art forms, and you so fit in that. So
I love it.
we'll have to look that up. What is the best way that people can connect with you, support the film?
They can go to the film's website, thefilmbloom.com, and check it out. You can also go to check out all parts of it, like all parts of the website, because there's the journey, there's the mission, there's how to get in touch with me to be either a speaker, a coach, or if you want to be a producer.
Okay, good. And why do we name it Bloom?
It's gone through a variation of titles, and this is now starting to be possible to morph to something different. But first it was called Breaking Free. And I was like, wow, that feels so masculine. Like you're just always trying to break, like fight. You're like fighting. And then I was like, I've kind of just bloomed. Everything's kind of just organically grown. And the main character's name is Rose. So it just kind of made sense. But now I'm starting to see how interesting it would be if the title was actually the name of the character that plays the personification of the mind, Razum, which means the mind in Russian, because it just is like more suspenseful and like, ooh, what is that? Like Razum's theater, that's what we're playing with right now. But right now it's Bloom because Rose blooms into who she's meant to be.
I want to thank you, one, for being here today, and for just sharing your story and being open and honest and really providing a space for people to feel connected.
Yeah, I appreciate you holding the space for me to come and chat about it. And
well, come back anytime because I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the film comes out, when we're ready, just every couple months, just come and update us.
Yeah. And, I've decided all the people in the beginning, like, you're welcome to the premiere. Come on, get you a ticket. Let's go.
I'm going to pack up and go. Let's go. Go to thefilmbloom.com, support Steph and everything she's doing. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. So nice to see you. My next guest is here. And life can be challenging, and sometimes it feels like we're making it harder on ourselves than it needs to be. My next guest understands this firsthand. He is a consulting psychologist who has navigated his own share of life's choppy waters, from divorce to business challenges. He's taken those experiences and turned them into wisdom to help others, and he shares his insight in his book, You're Making This Way Too Hard. I love this title. Find your easy way to enjoy life. Please welcome Dr. Angelo Valenti.
Well, hi there. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's my pleasure.
I want to start with your book. Tell everybody about the book.
Okay. Well, thank you for putting it on the screen. The book is titled You're Making This Way Too Hard. Find Your Easy Way to Enjoy Life. And if you'll notice, the car has a license plate that says NJOYLFE. And that was really... That's my actual license plate. I've had it on every car I've had since 1991, when I got a divorce and decided I needed to kind of rechannel my life in a different direction. So when I've had it, I'm fortunate. I've had that license plate on a lot of pretty nice cars because I like cars. That's one of my vices. And I was in a parking lot of a casual dining restaurant, and I came out and there was a note on my Mercedes convertible, and the note said I'd enjoy life too if I drove a $110,000 car and had millions in the bank. And I really would have loved to talk to the person who wrote that note and let that
Mhm.
person know that they had cause and effect backwards. I don't enjoy life because I have whatever stuff I have. I have whatever stuff I have because I enjoy life.
Wow.
And that was the germ that the seed that was planted. Um, and I've noticed in my consulting practice and in my coaching practice that people seem to be overcomplicating their life, making it more difficult. And everybody has difficulties in their life. You've had them, I've had them. But how you handle those difficulties and how you react to them makes all the difference. And if you can either make life easier on yourself or more complicated on yourself. And I decided I was going to write a book to help people find ways to make things easier on themselves.
And so what will they find in the book? Let me put that back up there.
Well, they're going to find chapters about several different things. The first chapter is about systems, how there's so many systems that are impacting your life that you don't even know about. There's big
Mm.
systems, there's governmental systems, communication systems, educational systems, community systems, all those systems that have little subsystems within them, all the way down to your family that influence your life. And I let people know that you can react to those systems in one of four ways. You can choose to fight the system, you can choose to make the system better, you can choose to ignore the system, or you can find a way to make the system work for you. And I believe that the best way to work within those systems, because they're not going away, is to
Yeah.
find ways to make them work for you. There's also a chapter on making good decisions. There's a chapter on relationships. There's a chapter on money. Um, so I try to cover a lot of the basics of life, things that people deal with every day. The first being choices. You have thousands of choices that you make every day, whether you know it or not. You're making decisions.
Mm.
And in order to make decisions, you have to make judgments. What's the best for me at that particular time? And judgment, when you say, I don't judge, well, you're lying or to yourself because everybody judges. You couldn't make it through a day without making judgments. If every option is equal, then it doesn't matter what decision you make, but it really does matter what decision you make.
Yeah. Well, it's also the assumption, right, that judgments are all negative and that you can't, right? Like that there
Oh yeah,
can't be
well
a
that it's
positive judgment.
yeah, well it's gotten a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But what I think the people who give it a negative connotation confuse judgment with being judgmental, and
Mhm.
that's placing assigning a value to a certain judgment that may or may not be accurate. And I don't
Yeah.
think people should be judgmental, uh, but I think you have to realize that if your life's going to be better if your judgment is better.
Mm. Did you always have this mindset, or did you have that opposite for a while? And if you did, like what happened where that kind of light bulb flicked on?
I think I've been fortunate. I had a really good upbringing. I was raised by grandparents because my mother was disabled and my father left when I was young. But my grandparents were just wonderful people. They were, born in the 1901 and 1907, respectively. So they're Depression era, uh, and they were older. And I think I was an only child, and they provided me with a framework to live by. Nobody ever raised their voice in my house when I was growing up,
Wow.
which is a little bit unusual, but the way I was held to a pretty high standard without knowing it. The expectations were pretty high because I was fairly smart, I was athletic, and the worst thing that I could hear my grandparents say to me is, "I'm disappointed in you." I mean, I'd rather
Mm.
be whipped with a belt than than have somebody
Mhm. That,
because
yeah,
that heals after a while, but the disappointments last a lot longer.
that hurts.
But I always had the mindset of looking for what's right instead of looking for what's wrong. I mean, there's good and bad in everything, but I've always had a positive outlook on life. And even when things didn't go the way I wanted them to go, uh, I was trying to look for what's the lesson, what can I learn here, and how can I use that to make my life a little bit better. So I
Mm,
think I was either born with or raised with a positive mindset.
wow. You titled the book You're Making This Way Too Hard. I want to put it back up there. Were there any other titles that you were thinking of, or how did you settle on this one, and where did it come from?
Well, the people that know me really well, when this is the first one I threw out as a possible title.
Wow.
And the people that know me well said, "Man, that's it. That's you." Because for better or worse, I carry myself in a way that things look easy, even though they're not necessarily easy. Uh,
Mhm.
but I try to live my life that way, and it just fit. And then I wanted to fit my license plate in the title because that was
Love
really
that.
the driving force for me to write the book. And my cover designer was a genius. Dino Marino's his name, and he came up with a cover that encapsulates the vision of what I had for a cover. Uh, I could never do something like that. I mean, he's he's in a class by himself, but it exactly represents what's inside the book. How you can kind of get rid of envy, self doubt, frustration, anxiety, all those things. You may not be able to get rid of them, but at least you can minimize them.
Yeah. Who would you say that the book is for? Like, who should be reading the book?
The book is for somebody who's feeling frustrated, disconnected, uh, don't really understand why things aren't going the way they want them to go. They're looking for validation outside of themselves. Maybe they've made some bad choices in their life that are coming back to bite them, and they want to find a way to make better decisions, uh, have better relationships. Maybe they're frustrated with the quality of their relationships. And I think
Mm,
people, what a person is today is the sum total of all of the decisions that they've made in their life plus the quality of their relationships. And
mhm.
if you're really dissatisfied with your life where it is now, look at your relationships and look at the decisions you've made, and you realize that that has a big impact on where you are today. And if you want to improve your
Mm.
life, improve your relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you working on anything now, or you think you're going to write another book?
I've got two that I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Um, one one of them is kind of a follow up to this book, and the working title right now is "This isn't a dress rehearsal. The time to enjoy life is now." It's for people who always have the someday mentality. Someday
Uh,
I'll start my own business. Someday I'll get married. Someday I'll have children. Someday I'll travel the world. Whatever that someday is. And I want to emphasize to those people that nobody is guaranteed someday,
yeah.
right? I mean, the
Yeah.
people, you see these tragedies that happen all the time. The people on that helicopter and that airplane that collided with one another. Do you think they woke up that morning thinking, "This is it for me?
Mhm.
It's my last day"? They had plans for next week, next month, next
Yeah.
year, the next 10 years. And that's not guaranteed to anybody. So I really, I think it's important for people to realize that today is the only day that you've got. Right now is all you're guaranteed. You never know what's going to happen. And, I mean, good things can happen too,
Mhm.
but uh, you want to live your life in the present. You know, there's an old saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. That's why it's called the present. And I think if more people lived with that present mindset instead of worrying about what might happen in the future or dwelling on what happened in the past, they'd be they'd be much happier.
Well, that makes me happy knowing that you're going to be releasing more books because that means you'll come back and chat about them here because I'm
Oh,
learning so
sure.
much from you. I want to talk quickly about like goal setting and why you think that's important because I'm that person when people are like, "What's your 5-year plan?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, so I'm
Right.
not sure." But can you talk a little bit about that and why it's important to
Well,
set goals?
well, it's important to set goals if you want to change some aspect of your life or if you want to
Mm,
accomplish something specific. I think people confuse goals. Let's say it's February, so people are not far removed from giving up on their New Year's resolutions,
uh-huh.
uh, which usually happens about 2 weeks after the first of the year.
Yeah.
Um, but they say I want to lose weight, or I want to learn something about this, or the goals that they set are too general, and they're really just
Mm,
wishes, they're dreams. If you say I want to lose weight, well, everybody wants to lose weight. But if you say, what does that really mean? And how are you going
right.
to measure it? Does that mean losing 1 pound? You've lost weight, therefore you've accomplished
Um,
your goal, right? So, but if you say, I want to lose 20 pounds by June 1st, I mean, that's specific. And then you
mhm.
can break that down into what actions do you need to take in order to achieve that goal. And you can measure your progress along the way. If a goal isn't measurable and isn't specific and doesn't have a deadline, a timetable for completion, then it's just a dream. And I think,
Mm,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with dreams, but until you can quantify them or get them into something more concrete, your previous guest had a dream about a screenplay that she wanted to write, but until she put it down on paper and put all those ideas together, it didn't happen.
nothing. Yeah.
It didn't happen until she got specific.
Mm,
And I think it is important to set goals, but it is also important not to be too hard on yourself and don't consider yourself a failure if you don't hit your original goal. You can always readjust.
yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And I like the being specific about what that goal is and breaking it down. I think that's where I break down in my goals is I get my bullet points, but then that's kind of it. And so there's such a high standard of like, well, it's not, this is it, but then, and then what? And then what? So I
So you
like
break
that.
it down into daily,
Yeah.
weekly, monthly. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. What's the best way that people can connect with you?
Well, the best way people can connect with me is go to my website, which
Okay.
is angelovalenti.com.
Perfect.
I'm also out there on social media, although I have a mixed relationship with the love-hate relationship with social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, I'm on X. Don't do much on X, but I do I post fairly frequently on TikTok and Instagram. So you can find me there. But if you go to angelovalenti.com, there's plenty of ways to connect with me. You can also buy my book. You can buy it on Amazon, Audible. I went in the studio and did an Audible
Oh,
version of
fun.
it, which was an interesting experience. I'd never done anything like that before. Um, and various other places you can buy it from my website too. I'll even send you an autographed copy or a signed copy.
I love that. What do you love most about your life right now?
Oh, it's hard to pick what I love the most about my life. I'm 75 years old and I'm living my best life ever as far as I'm
Oh,
concerned. I've got a wife that somehow manages to put up with me. All of my kids are happy and married and productive. Uh, and I have grandchildren, which is cool too. I love the work that I do. I love helping people. I love working with businesses. My golf game's still in pretty good shape. Um, so it, I would have to really search to find something to complain about.
all
So
right, good. That's a good answer. It's a good answer. I love that. Let's put up your book one more time. It's called You're Making This Way Too Hard. Find Your Easy Way to Enjoy Life. Available wherever you get your books. Thank you so much for being here.
thank you so much for having me. I'll be back
That's
after
okay.
I'm done writing my next book.
You know how to find me. Sounds
I do.
good. All right. We'll take a break and be right back after this. Don't go away.
Listen, everyone needs a co-conspirator to reimagine their lives and uncover the opportunities in the challenges they face. If you are looking for the place where hope meets possibility and you are ready to create a life of meaning despite the diagnosis, look no further. Helen is a certified professional coach with a background in medical research and an autoimmune diagnosis who brings compassion, empathy, and your best interests to every conversation. Learn more about coaching with Helen at helensampsonmullen.com.
We're back, everybody. Thanks so much for being here, for watching. Let's do a view count, shall we? Let's see how many views and downloads we are at as of this morning before the show. John, take it away. Not too shabby. Over 232,000, almost 233,000 views and downloads of this show. We started the year off at 100,000. And so we're doing, I think, pretty darn good. So now's a good time to share the show. Right now, just click the button. It'll be really easy, and I appreciate it. We get to bring you amazing people every day, and I'm so glad that y'all are watching. And I think that's it. We will see you all tomorrow. I'm going to go film another episode of Introspection from Grief to Growth, which is a podcast that I help produce and edit. So if you need help with your podcast, let me know. All right, on tomorrow's show, author of 10 Little Rules for a Double-Butted Adventure, Terry M. Brown. This is like the week of great book titles. And poet Anastasia Lindsay is here to talk about her book, Ocean. Have a great day, everybody. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching the show, and I love you for it. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.